Hey babes! Today I have a quick little get ready with me as usual. You guys know I love making these videos for you. I just love kind of sitting here in front of the camera and just painting my face for the day with you guys. So if you guys want to see what I did for my makeup look today and how I achieved this beautiful glowy look, then definitely stay tuned. So we are going to start off priming the face. I am going to be using the Ultra Repair Face Moisturizer from First Aid Beauty, and I'm going to be applying that all over my face. Whoa. Too much. I love this moisturizer. I feel like it gives me the perfect consistency for makeup application. It's so nice. Next, I'm jumping into my Bobbi Brown. This is the Vitamin Enriched Face Base. And I'm just going to apply that all over my face as well. I just really want to make sure that my face is nice and primed and hydrated. So I'm keeping the Bobbi Brown primer more towards the center of my face. Then I am going to jump into a little bit of color correcting, and for my color correcting today I'm going to be using the e.l.f. color correcting sticks. Now with these are definitely a cream, so I find that using less is more, because I find that when I use too much of this product it doesn't really mesh well with my other foundations and it tends to add texture to the skin, and I really don't like the way that looks. I don't know, sometimes the e.l.f. cream based products are a little too much for my skin. It just brings out every single little bump I have, and I really don't like that. So we're going to be using just a tiny bit. Let me just grab a mirror. And the reason I mix both is because I find that this is just a little bit too orange for me and this is too light. So mixing gives me the best of both worlds. So I have a lot of discoloration around my mouth. Do a little bit there. Bring it down. And then I like to do just a little bit below here. And I used to put it underneath my eyes and around my nostrils, but again, it just really didn't mesh well with the foundations that I was using. No matter what foundation I used, it would just cake up there and it would look really, really bad. So I'm just going to be using my finger here to kind of warm that up and make sure that that is nice and blended in. Okay, now that that is nicely blended in, I did kind of take the residue that was on my finger and I just applied a little tiny bit underneath the eyes. I'm hoping that gives just a little bit of color correcting properties. Next, before I actually apply my foundation, I'm going to be taking a little bit of the RMCA No Color Powder, and I'm just going to lightly set that. That way when we apply the foundation over top, it doesn't budge or move anywhere. And I am really trying to apply less product when it comes to the overall look. I found that in the past I've been using maybe too much, so I'm really trying to work with a light hand, and I am going to be using two foundations today. So today we're doing the L'Oreal Pro Matte Foundation. It's in the color 109. And this is the beautiful Hourglass foundation in the color Golden Amber. I have never found a foundation that matches my skin so perfect. I have very yellow undertones and it's difficult for me to find foundations that don't make me gray or pink or orange. So this definitely is the perfect color for me. I'm obsessed with this. Hopefully it matches me when I get a little tanner in the summer here, but I find that it's just a little bit too creamy, a little bit too dewy for this time of year for me. It is getting warmer where I live, so I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Pro Matte in the center of my face just to give me more oil control in the center of my face where I tend to be more oily, and then I'm going to be using this a little bit over top and then mostly in the perimeter of my face. So we will do that, and I'm going to be using a beauty blender for both. So it's pretty moist right now. So I'm going to take that and just dab it in the center of my face, and again starting off with the L'Oreal. The L'Oreal is a pretty good match for me as well, but sometimes I find that it's a little dark. So just focusing this where I have larger pores. So for me that's kind of like on the center of my cheek here. And I'm not really going underneath the eye just because I don't want to apply more product there than I need, because I'm going in with concealer. Another thing that I found is I have really deep nose lobes. Like, I don't even know what to call them, like that little crease on the outside of your nose here. Those are really deep for me. So a lot of product tends to cake up there throughout the day and it just looks terrible. So I'm going to try to apply less product there and see how that works for me. But that is the center of the face done. And we will move on to my fave, the Hourglass. Oh my god, I love this foundation, you guys. It's so beautiful. Okay, foundation. What is on my shirt? Okay, foundation is done, guys. So we're going to jump into concealer. So I'm using the Soft Matte Complete from NARS. This is in the color Biscuit. And I'm trying to tone down my concealer as well. So I'm going for a more natural look as opposed to that crazy highlighted look that I've done in past videos. So I'm going to go in with my favorite concealer brush. This is the Aveda 001. So it just looks like this. And if you haven't used Aveda brushes before, they're actually really good. So I am going to apply that underneath my eyes. And I find when I use more of a cream-based foundation, I have to go with the same type of formula with the concealer, or else it doesn't really mesh well. So I'm going to go underneath the eyes. And this concealer goes a long way, so you don't need much. And then for my face shape, I have a pretty wide face. So I tend to kind of keep the concealer in the center of my face as opposed to kind of blending it up my cheeks. And I don't have a huge forehead, but it's not like a small forehead either, so I just do a tiny bit of highlight here just to kind of balance everything out. Then down the nose and bring it down a little bit on the chin again to balance everything out. A little tiny bit on my cupid's bow, and then go ahead with the beauty blender again and blend that out. Okay guys, so I did actually finish blending my concealer, and I accidentally applied my Laura Mercier, is this translucent? Yep, my Laura Mercier translucent powder. I already applied that, so I apologize, I did not get that on camera. I was like working, you know, and I completely forgot. So yeah, I just did a thin layer of that all over the face, and I am slightly baking, not a heavy bake, but just a nice soft bake, just because again, want to oil control. So next we will jump right into a little bit of the setting of the entire face. So for that I like to use the No Color Powder by RMCA. So we're just going to take a light dusting of that. And I'm using a e.l.f. stippling brush for that. I like to use the Laura Mercier all over over the areas where I conceal, just because it's a lot more finely milled. And I find that it has a little bit of a pore filling aspect to it. So it just kind of blurs the areas where I conceal, which tends to be the cakiest spots for me. And then I use the No Color Powder all over the face because I don't want to use up the rest of my Laura Mercier in areas that I don't really need it. So now that is done, since this is baking, I'm actually going to be doing my... Sorry if I keep looking down. I have all my products down here, and I'm trying to kind of figure out where this look is going to go. So I actually am going to be doing my brows off camera because I have decided that I like the look of thicker brows. I tend to look a lot younger than I am, and I know down the road that's going to be a blessing, but right now it's kind of a curse for me. So I was doing thinner brows to kind of age myself a bit, so I have decided that I'm just going to love my natural brows, and I'm letting them grow back in. It won't take much longer than this. They grow pretty quickly, so I am letting them grow back in, and I'm just going to kind of do a little cleanup on the bottom. So while that's happening, I am going to be doing my brows off camera just because it takes too long for me to do them on camera. So when I am finished with that, I will be right back. Okay, brows are on, and I actually really like the look of the fuller brow that I have going on. So yeah, it's a lot more messy, I think is the word that I'm looking for. But yeah, those are the brows. I think I'm going to finish the rest of my face actually. So I'm just going to dust off the setting powder here. Next I'm going to jump straight into contouring, and as you guys know, I'm using my Uninterrupted by MAC. It's my fave. It's the perfect yellowy based kind of brown that I like to use. It doesn't take away from the undertones for my skin because I love looking golden, but it gives me a nice contour. And I'm using the Real Techniques contouring brush. Cool. And then to kind of help slim down the face, I always take it obviously down the cheek to give me more of a lifted cheekbone, and then I like to bring it up here on the sides of my head here. And then we do a little bit on the temples as well. And don't feel like you have to contour the exact same way that I'm contouring. Everybody's face shape is different. I hate when people kind of do what everybody else is doing just because it's, you know, popular. Everyone's face shape is different. Do what you need to do for you, you know? I have like I said before, I don't have the smallest forehead, but it's not the biggest forehead. So I'll only do a little tiny bit here just to kind of warm up my face and to slim it down slightly. But I don't need much, you know? I just like to focus it mostly on the hollows here and then on the upper cheekbone there. So as where it's normal to bring the highlight all the way up, I can't do that because I would look crazy. Okay. So do you see how that just really brought everything in? The whole point of contouring is to balance out the face. Because the ideal face shape is oval. That may not be everybody's cup of tea, but ideally the face shape you want to go for is oval. So I contour my face to kind of balance everything out. Not necessarily to make it look oval, but just to give it some shape and some dimension. Okay, my face contour is all finished. Now I'm going to use that same color, and I'm using a BH Cosmetics 129 brush here, and I'm going to be using this to contour my nose. So what I love to do is I like to add a lot of dimension right here, right in the socket. I don't know, I just feel like it really adds a lot of dimension to like my eye looks and my face. So I'm going to do that. So the whole face is contoured. We're going to jump right into blush next. And I'm using my favorite, everyone knows this already, it's the NARS Taj Mahal. And I'm going to be using this is a Luxie 514 brush, a blush brush. And I'm going to apply my blush. And if you haven't seen it, it looks like this. It's a beautiful orange color. And this is one of my faves because I find that it adds just the right amount of color to my face without being overpowering. So this works really well for like nude lips, and honestly it works well for everything because again it doesn't stand out too much. So like it works really well with a bold lip, a nude lip, whatever I desire. And it has a little bit of a golden sheen to it, so it always blends in really well with my highlight. And then I like to apply a little bit to my chin for balance. That is the keyword when I am doing my makeup, balance. And then whatever's kind of left over on the brush, I just do a little bit on the tip of my nose there. Okie doke. So I think we're going to jump into highlight next. My favorite highlight, and I think it will forever be my favorite highlight, is the Champagne Pop by Becca. So I'm going to use this Royal and Lang Nickel brush. This is in BMD 300. It's just a fan brush. And if you have not used the Royal and Lang Nickel brushes before, I highly recommend them, 100%. They are super high quality brushes. They're absolutely amazing. I have not been disappointed by any of these brushes before. So we're just going to do a little bit. Because you know me, I'm always going to apply more later. And I always like applying a little bit to the temples of my forehead just because it provides an overall glow. Okie doke. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the Cupid's bow here. Or a lot. And then I also have stopped putting the highlight on the tip of my nose, and I just do the bridge now. Just because that already gets pretty oily throughout the day, so I'm going to actually set my face, and I'm using two different setting sprays here. We're going to go with the Lock It by Kat Von D and the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. So I'm actually going to go in with the Lock It first. And the reason why I'm using two is because I'm going to get the best of both worlds. This is really going to set my makeup, and this is going to apply a little bit of a dewy finish to the overall look. And I love looking dewy, not greasy, so I'm working on the products that I'm using to kind of achieve the glow for myself. So, and if you haven't used the Lock It before, it is amazing. It smells like cucumbers, and it's so nice. I think it really does help the longevity of my makeup. Then we're gonna go in with the Luminous. And I try really hard not to apply too much of this bad boy because it can really kind of mess things up if you're not careful. And then I like to take my beauty blender and kind of push in any spots that might have popped up here. Okie doke. So I'm going to let that kind of soak in and let my natural oils kind of peek through. We're going to jump right into the eyes. So for my base today, I'm going to go in with this is an old favorite. I actually just found it in my collection and I forgot all about it. Maybelline Color Tattoo in the color Bad to the Bronze. I have been mixing that with my Inglot Duraline, and it's been a beautiful combination. So I just like to take it on the back of my hand just because the warmth really helps them mix together. And I am going to be using a Coastal Scents BRCS12 brush. So I kind of just scoop it out with the back of my brush. And I just place it on my hand. And then I do just one drop of the Duraline. Honestly, this goes such a long way. And I am shocked by this. I have had this for a few years now. It hasn't dried out, so I'm very, very pleasantly surprised with that. Okay, so that eyeshadow is applied. And I'm actually going to be using my Bybel palette today. This is the Deluxe edition, and I'm going to be using a few colors. I'm going to be popping a warm toned eyeshadow in my crease. You can use any warm tone color that you want. That is the only eyeshadow that I'm not using from this palette. But besides that, we will be using this color in the crease, this color all over the lid, and then I think I'm going to be using this darker brown to add a little bit of depth. So it's going to be a nice and easy look today. It's going to be a nice and easy look today, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into that. Okay, so that is the warm tone shade. I applied it in my crease and on my lower lash there. And now we will be dipping into that warmer brown. And then to apply that warmer shade, I did use a Morphe E25. And then to apply this warmer shade, I'm going to be using a e.l.f. crease brush, a smaller brush for my small eyes. And I'm just going to apply that here, the outer corners. Okay, so while I was applying that warmer shade, I actually decided I'm going to be doing a halo eye today. So I did take this color here, and I did put it on the center of both the top and lower lids. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. But next we're going to be using that same e.l.f. brush, if I can find it, and the crease brush, and I'm going to be dipping into this warmer cool toned brown, and I'm going to be applying that to the same areas where I applied that warmer shade. Okay, so we have that deeper shade nice and blended both on the inner and outer corner. And now I'm going to jump into this, I think it's like a pink lemonade color. It's so pretty. So it's like a golden pinky tone. And I'm using a Mica Beauty brush, no number or anything, but it's like a fluffy angled brush. And I'm just going to apply that to the center, kind of packing it on. And then doing the same to the lower lashes. Okay, so we have that applied to both eyes now, and I actually don't feel like it's metallic enough for me, so I'm going to go in with my Lock-It spray. I already applied some to my brush here, nice and heavy, and I'm just going to spray my brush here. And I will be applying that to both eyes. Oh yeah, look at that, way more intense. Love that. And then to the bottoms as well. And then I'm just going to go back into that warmer shade, and using that smaller brush, the e.l.f. brush, I'm just going to overlap and just make sure everything is nice and blended. Okay, and then for liner today, I'm going in with my Tarte Fake Awake. So you can see how that really opens up my eye. I do have smaller eyes, so I love doing this, as opposed to like a black. And then off camera, I'm going to do mascara and lashes. And for my lashes today, I'll be using the Sugar Lashes by Cakeface Beauty. So I'll be doing that off camera, and then I'll be right back. Okay, my loves, so I have my eyelashes applied, my mascara on. For my eyelashes, again, I use the Cakeface Sugar. And then for my mascara, I use the Balm, I think it was the Mad Lash. Yes, it was. So I have that on. And then I took a little bit of the Ciate liquid liner, and this is the Fierce Flicks liner, and I just took it just in the inner corner here to fill in that gap because I did not apply any liner over top. Everything is still freshly wet, so I'm waiting for that to dry. And then I am going to be applying more highlight because you guys know I love my highlight. So I'm going to be using the Bybel palette, and we're using this beautiful rose gold color, and I'm just kind of going over top everything. And I'm using my Morphe M509 brush for that. So I'm just kind of going over everything. It's such a beautiful highlight color. I think it pairs really well with my Champagne Pop. And I did want to finish off the eye, so I'm going to be taking that same color, so that beautiful rose gold color, and I'm going to be applying that to the arch of my brow and to the inner corners. Okay guys, so that's all finished. I actually just went ahead and I started deepening up some of the moles that I have on my face. So I'm using that Ciate liner, and I already filled in this one. That's the biggest one that I have, and it's my favorite. And then I also love to fill in this one where I live. And then I have one here that I need to still do. And then I actually sometimes do this one as well. Sometimes I don't like doing that one because it almost looks like a smudge from my mascara. But yeah, those are my 4 favorite molds to kind of bring up to life. So the final step now is going to be my lips. And for that, I'm going to be going in with my Bite Beauty 040 lip liner. It's my favorite lip liner to use. And then I just wanted to do a nice lip gloss today. So I'm going to be using this Cargo lip gloss. This is in the color Sahara. Yep, Sahara. It's this really pretty soft pink kind of glittery gloss. And then I'm just going to apply that over top. And then these glosses are a little bit on the sticky side, so if you don't like sticky lip glosses, this is not going to be a good gloss for you. But I do love this color, so that's why I'm using it. Okay guys, so that is the finished look. I am going to go off camera and fix my hair and kind of change my outfit, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. And I'm all changed. I have a little pony going on. I typically don't wear my hair in a pony because it just is so difficult to work with. It's usually not this straight, so I'm obsessed. I did want to showcase this palette, guys. I haven't done a review on it just because I felt like everybody was going to be doing a review, so why add to the chaos? But I have been obsessed with this palette. It is so good, guys, especially for women of color. I think if you have super deep rich chocolate skin, it might not be pigmented enough for you, but I think I'm an NC45 in MAC, so I feel like if you're probably like 5 shades deeper than me, this will work for you. So everyone from that spectrum to light skin, it's beautiful. I wish, I don't know, I just feel like it really won't show up on deeper skin tone. I feel like the lighter shades will look really nice, but just these kind of darker shades here, like obviously the shimmers work on everybody because shimmers just work on everybody, but just a few colors here I don't think will really show up on super deep girls. So I think like these colors here, but the rest I think will work. So if this is something you are interested in and you do have like yummy dark skin, I definitely would go for it. It's super cheap. I think it's $22.50. Don't quote me on that. I'll put it in the description down below. But the shimmers in here and the highlight shades are absolutely gorgeous. My favorite color I would have to say is this beautiful rose gold, just because I do love using my Champagne Pop and it pairs really well with that. So I'm obsessed with all the colors here. So I highly recommend this palette. It's absolutely beautiful. It's been my go-to for the past, I want to say 2 weeks maybe. And I can't get enough of it. It's so good. The mattes are so soft and they really do pop on my skin. That's the only thing I was kind of worried about, because I feel like when you have cheaper palettes like this, the mattes aren't typically the best. But the mattes are great, the shimmer's amazing, and the highlights are gorgeous. So I highly recommend this. It's affordable, it's great quality, the packaging is absolutely beautiful, and I think it's a steal. I just wanted to showcase that palette because I have been using it like nonstop. So yeah, that's what we have for my look today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was just a nice little quick get ready with me, and I can't like stop moving my head. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. My name is ROIMA. For those of you that are new to my channel, I do see that I had new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. I super appreciate it. And if you haven't given this video a thumbs up already, definitely do that because it really supports my channel. And gracias por todo el amor que estoy recibiendo as usual. And until next time, guys. Bye.